It starts with less than 24 hours ago, where a neighbor allegedly says that she saw my husband cheating. My husband comes home late most of the time. He usually has many meetings. However, his schedule is flexible, so sometimes he'll come home earlier. A couple days ago, I was out shopping, and when I came home at around 4, he was there. I didn't think anything of it and just spent time with him. Yesterday in the evening, my neighbor and I were going for a walk around the neighborhood. While talking, she asked me if I knew. I was so confused. So when I pressed her further, she asked if I knew what my husband was cheating on me. My heart quite literally sank at the thought of it, but I didn't believe her. She reassured me and said that being married to a man like him comes with infidelity, and that she has been through the same thing. Once the original shock is over, I will come to terms with it. I was so confused because she still hadn't given me any proof of my husband cheating, and I got angry that she was just accusing him of things. She then told me that a couple days ago at around 11, the day I went shopping, my husband brought a girl to our home in his car, and a couple hours later, the girl left in a different car. She said that from her view, the girl had a similar body type to me and looked around my age, but she had blonde hair. I was and am shocked. I couldn't continue the walk and I went home. My husband came home shortly after. I wish I was better at keeping a straight face, but I just couldn't. He repeatedly asked me what was wrong, but I didn't tell him. He said that he will get it out of me eventually. The neighbor has always been so sweet to me, but this morning, after telling my best friends about it, they believe that my neighbor is lying. We have 2 security cameras that show the driveway of our house. The only problem is that the app is on my husband's phone. Now, he is extremely transparent. I can go on his phone anytime. I don't check through it. I just search things up if my phone is dead and stuff like that. But if he is cheating, he probably wouldn't let me go on his phone. Now, my husband is huge on loyalty, and he is really possessive over me, so I don't understand how he could be cheating on me. When we're out, he never looks at other women. He isn't even friendly to waitresses or anyone like that. He has always said that I am his exact type, and I have dark hair. He has always been all over me. But I am not going to be one of those delusional wives. Do you think he is cheating? If he is, I will leave him, no questions asked. Please give me your honest opinions and advice. I am a 22-year-old female, husband is 34, and the neighbor is a 35-year-old female. Now the top comment asks, would your neighbor have any motivation to lie and break up your marriage? And in the OP's theory, she doesn't think so. She sometimes asks weird questions about our relationship, but I think she is just trying to bond with me in a way. We are pretty new to the neighborhood. So she's listing a lot of positive qualities about this guy, but of course, she might be more delusional than she thinks, or likes to admit. Regardless, we move on to the update, where we learn that, well, yeah, makes sense why she didn't bother providing any evidence. So the first update, he just read the message and responded with the login info. It's time to see. And 30 minutes later, I can't describe how relieved I am. I'm still crying for some reason. I downloaded the app and logged in. Rightfully so, most of you said that the footage would probably be deleted for that day. However, it was still there, because there was nothing to hide. At around 11:06 a.m. on July 7th, you see my husband pull into our driveway. He exits the vehicle alone. There was no blonde. The only other car that comes to our house is mine at 3:50. I want to update you guys on what happens with the neighbor, but I think I'm going to delete this account. I am so disgusted. I don't know why she would lie to me like that. I'm disappointed in myself for doubting my husband, and I hope he doesn't get angry with me for not trusting him. And 4 hours later, most people won't read this, but I just want to put it here. My husband has been worried since last evening. That was when I started ignoring him, and he said that he will get it out of me eventually. Today, he has called and texted me numerous times between his meetings to check in on me, but I ignored everything. When I randomly asked for the login, I guess he got even more worried. An hour and a half ago, he just decided to say frick it and come home even though he still had work to do. I was so scared that he would be mad. When he came home, he was visibly angry and worried. I just told him the truth. I know I wasn't supposed to. Many people said to lie about it, but I just couldn't. I then apologized for not trusting him. He wasn't even angry anymore. He just looked hurt and sad. Oh no, that's even worse. He said that he could never be angry with me for that, and he will deal with the neighbor. Thinking about the neighbor seemed to really make him angry, though. He said I should eat something, but I told him I didn't feel like it. He then asked me if I had slept at all last night, and I said no. So, even though it's 7:30 p.m., I'm in his arms and in bed. I'm finally going to sleep soon. I just wanted to update, since a couple people thought he would leave me. So neighbor's either jelly or just likes to create a lot of drama in the neighborhood. I suspect it's because of the fact that this woman is 22 and she's 33 and that husband is 34. How dare you make her perceive that there is some competition between you two just because you're dating someone that's in her age bracket? You selfish bitch! But anyway, let's move on from crazy neighbors and learn about stupid, ridiculous fiancés. Specifically on an updated story where it originates with this jargon of drama. And yes, the mother-in-law in the story does think that she's an a-hole. My fiancé almost died in a car accident. That's when my mother-in-law told me he cheated on me with an ex. Now he's recovering well. I feel so guilty for wanting to end it. I feel like a horrible person. We are supposed to get married on August 20 in a small ceremony. I, 33-year-old female, have been with my fiancé who's 34 for 6 years, engaged for 1. The best years of my life. He's brilliant in every way, or so I thought. The accident happened 6 weeks ago. A drunk driver hit my fiancé's car. I spent the worst night in my life in the hospital waiting for answers from the doctors as he went through hours and hours of surgery. Parents and brothers were also there waiting. I've always loved his family, and they me. His mum is, or was, one of my favorite people, and we got along very well. She was happy to have me as her first daughter-in-law. She's religious, and when my fiancé was hovering between life and death, she was worried about his sins, so she told me that he cheated on me about 2 months ago with an ex he bumped into. You read that right. It's not because, it's just the morally respectful thing to do for someone you clearly apparently care and love. No, it's only because you're worried about your religious beliefs that you have to, expose an a-hole for being an a-hole. She explained that it was because of the wedding and the stress of planning it. Apparently, I've been both stressed out and stressing him out. He had a weak moment. It was a one-time thing and he regretted it so much. He asked his parents for advice on what to do and they told him not to say anything. As long as he's remorseful and as long as it was me he wanted, he should forget about what he did and move on. His whole family knew. After the hospital, he moved back to his parents' house because we live in a flat without lifts. I visit him every day. I haven't told him that I know, and his family is acting like nothing has changed. They're very happy he's doing better, and understandably so, and my presence by his side is very helpful according to him and his family. Now, both fiancé and his parents are talking about us being able to get married on the day we set after all. I feel awful because I don't want that. Our relationship was over the moment I found out about the cheating. I stayed because I loved and still do him, and I wanted him to feel better. I couldn't break his heart while he's recovering. I also thought the wedding was postponed and that we would have had more time for him to recover fully and be strong and independent again so I could leave with a clear conscience. I tried speaking to his mum today, but she just started hyperventilating and kept telling me not to do this. She made a mistake by telling me, and that I shouldn't have taken advantage of what she said in desperation to punish him and kill his spirit. He's still recovering, and he needs me. I have been thinking since my talk with his mom about everything, and I'm so angry at him. I'm ashamed that even when I was worried about his life, I was very angry and resentful. We were supposed to have our wedding in this beautiful manor house that he found that's all-inclusive, with our most important people. My best friend is a DJ, and my parents paid for the whole thing, even though they're much poorer, so I don't know where the stress has come from. We fixed everything in a week! I'm so angry, and I've kept bottling it up since the accident. I'm afraid I'm going to explode soon. So I was going to apply some devil's advocate respect to the possibility that, yeah, look, maybe he genuinely was stressed, but then this final paragraph really just shut that argument down. I mean, let's all agree, it was a weak argument to begin with. I mean, wow, usually it's the cheater who immediately goes on the offensive of saying that, oh, you didn't give me enough love, or you were making life terrible for me, so I was allowed to. It was my personal little treat, a little special bubble tea for the day, But instead we have the mother doing that for him. Good job, Mum, looking out for your kids. Just in the bad way? I've been both stressed out and stressing him out. Oh. He had a weak moment? Oh. I mean, you can regret it all you like, buddy, but that's the problem. Like this beautiful comment. The mum literally thought her son was going to die with the cheating on his conscience, and so she told OP, probably hoping that OP would be so worried that she would just forgive him. I really think her motivation was religious, like the guy was gonna die, get to the pearly gates and be denied entry because of the cheating. But if mum could convince the girlfriend to forgive him, then St. Peter couldn't have much else to say, right? I really think mum was trying to do his final confession for him so he would have a squeaky clean soul when he reached heaven. And just to quickly read the top of this comment, if her motivation was religious, then the mum telling the fiancé has absolutely no effect at all. Me telling you about someone else's sin is merely gossip. So well done, mum. You've kind of performed a sin on your own self. So that was 15 days ago. And now 3 days ago, 12 days later, OP's finally confessed to the fiancé, something that he should have been confessing long ago. Sorry to clarify that 5 days ago, not 15. I can't read numbers. I've written here 3 days ago before I talked to my fiancé. This is after I told him I know about his cheating. I started by telling my parents, who are paying for the wedding, about what happened and that I'm cancelling the wedding. Hopefully they can get back some of what they paid via their home insurance. I have told them that I'm going to pay the rest of the damages. My dad refused. I insisted. It's not up to them. Since my fiancé still lives with his parents, I felt that I would be outnumbered if I went alone to end it. A text or call wasn't an option since he meant a lot more to me than that, and I really wanted to see his face and ask, what the frick? I also wanted him to see my hurt. I don't want it to be comfortable for him. Cheaters must see the hurt they cause and hopefully learn from it. I took my mum with me. When I told him that the wedding was off and the reason why, he started crying. He told me all things they say in desperation. He was foolish, he didn't think, he was stressed out, he was scared. It meant nothing. He regretted it. He didn't want to tell me because it meant nothing and he didn't want to hurt me. I should give him a chance to prove himself and his loyalty. He can ask his parents to pay for the wedding. We can postpone the wedding indefinitely. I can take the apartment, and he will live with his parents, as long as it takes for me to forgive him. I haven't cried so much as I did when I was listening to his bullshit, and afterwards on my way home. How could he do this to me? He didn't give me a satisfying answer to why he did this to me. To us! I have cried myself to sleep every night since the accident, and yet I cried like I've just found out. I'm going to stay in the apartment that we bought together, and he will stay with his parents. Prices have gone down these last couple of months, and we both agreed that we don't want to sell for less than what we paid. But the moment it goes up again, we're selling. I have started packing his things now, and tomorrow I'm renting a van to move his things to his parents' house. Sorting out his stuff and packing his clothes made it real for me. I didn't expect it to be so emotional. Why do I love him so? Stop. No, I'm not re-recording that. This man doesn't deserve some actual respect for how much someone loves him. He has been texting me and he has called me twice, and we talked mostly about mundane stuff, but also about us and our relationship. His mum has called me to say that she felt guilty for first not advising him to come clean, but even later for divulging his secret to me without his permission. She was disappointed that I took advantage of her moment of panic, but she understands that I'm hurt. She said he will do his best to win me back. I'm a bit irritated about the fact that none of them, including my parents, believe that it's really over, and I don't have the energy to prove my point either. I just need some alone time now and some peace and quiet. Top consolidating opinion. As many have said, you should not get back with him. But I will add something about this. Now, unfortunately, there is never a satisfying answer. No matter what his reasoning is, you will always find yourself thinking, but if he loved me, he would not have done this to me. That's because you are not a cheater. A great piece of advice I once read is that it is not healthy to dwell on the why someone hurt you. If you cannot understand why someone would hurt you in that way, it is because you are not like them. And that should be your closure. Oh, that is some damn good advice. Oh, you'd love to see it. But it's true. I mean, if there's one mantra I try to follow in life, it's that idea that don't waste your time trying to theorize and digest what someone has done to you as why and their reasoning for it. Just focus on accepting it and moving on best way you can. Of course, if that interaction is something about maybe, you being exposed for being a cheater, well, maybe actually reflect on that and wonder why they're leaving you, yes? And this is the thing with being a cheater. You get that temptation, which you eventually regret because down you were just wanting a quick little distraction or quick little fun time without actually thinking about the consequences. And sure, it's great that you regretted it. Cool, man. But you didn't tell her straight away. Proves to her and to everyone else that you're not honest with yourself and not honest with her, and you don't respect her or even really respect yourself. So you reap what you sow. Moving over to another story about terrible actions by a now ex. Today I freaked up by leaving a massive order alone with my now ex and her 14 friends. I'm sorry, I just needed somewhere to vent, as literally everyone is saying I'm a dick for kicking out my pregnant ex out over this. To clarify, this is not the first time she's done this, but this time it cost me over $1,000. Also, I'm sorry if this was choppy, I'm seeing red right now. So, I recently got 2 massive orders for pastries for 2 weddings and a few other parties. I had spent 1 week working with my team on the orders, as it was 75 to 100 per item. Well, we finished yesterday, and I and the team decided to go to the movies and just relax. Big mistake. Apparently, my now ex had a party planned, without asking me, in the home I pay for, while she just sits on her butt doing nothing. She's never had a job, she just waits for everyone to hand her what she needs. We recently found out she's pregnant a month and a half ago, but she's been using it as an excuse. At first, it was just 1 or 2 of them, but it gradually became more. 1 to 2 to 15 to 20, which wasn't really an inconvenience as it was only 1 more batch, and I was fine with that. However, yesterday was the last straw. When I went out, she threw a party with 14 of her friends and they got hungry. So they made their way down to the shop and went through nearly everything my team made. My dad owns the bakery, it's not too far down from our house, so it wasn't that hard for her to get in. Well, when we came back, we found my ex and 14 of her friends wasted on nearly $1,000 of pastries. I nearly lost my schmidt and started screaming and asking her what the frick she was doing and why she thought this was okay. She blamed this on pregnancy cravings and tried to say that she wanted the baby to eat well. But when I asked about her friends, she said that they also had cravings. I kicked her out and had to call and explain everything to both parties. Full refund for both of them, as there was barely anything that could be salvaged. Now, I as a male completely have a valid opinion to think how women should behave and experience hormones and stress and stuff when they're pregnant, but, you know, I'll be a good martyr here and pass it off to you and, you know, actual women out there who actually know what it's like to be pregnant. To what degree do you think this is a valid excuse? Because obviously, she's trashed his place, well, their family's business, not to mention an extreme loss of business and good client rapport. In a way, too, it's also kind of his fault for not putting his foot down sooner. I guess fault isn't the best word here, maybe ignorance. I mean, the fact she started with 1 or 2 and then moved up to 15 or 20, yeah, she was just testing your boundaries, my man. And as people in the comments say, she and her friends should pay you back. $1,000 divided by 15 is $66.70. Sounds like a sum they can afford. Alternatively, you could go nuclear and file for $1,000 from your girlfriend. Like, holy Schmidt, man, they just sabotaged your livelihood. Don't let them get away. Don't let her use you like that any further. No keys to the shop, no gifts, no extra pastries. Possibly a DNA test for the baby. You want to spend the next decades with somebody who does this kind of schmidt? And Opie agrees, yeah, they're planning to take them to court if they don't do so willingly. Is it too late to send her back to her parents? Because this child should not have a child, not to be left alone. Opie says, nope, because that's where she is now. And yeah, I kind of get this point though. This is on you. You said from the get that this isn't the first time she's done this. She should have been kicked out to the curb the first time. Whether she should have been kicked out is a whole other sort of extreme of what you want or not, but I do kind of agree that to a degree you have enabled this behavior. No, it's not necessarily your fault that she went absolutely crazy and ate all that thousands of dollars of food with her friends, but still, the fact you clearly allow her some sort of access to the place as well, it's not surprising that she would assume that she can, you know, have a little treat every now and again. Anyway though, let me know what you think about that, and we can have a little scamper in the comments about it. For now though, it is the end of today's video. Of course, thank you as always for having this fun time with me and watching these videos. Your support is absolutely admirable. And until next time I see you, you be good, make good choices. Remember that your farts produce methane and therefore you're considered valuable to the fossil fuel industry. Goodbye!